I'm Sarah Sumbrum, Artistic Director at Dance Cleveland. Today I am joined by Joan Hartshorne, and she was a dancer with Jose Limón Dance Company. Thanks for joining us, Joan. So today we're going to talk a little bit about the history of Limón Company and what it was like when you were dancing with the company. We're really excited to have the company here at Playhouse Square coming up April 22nd. But let's dive a little bit deeper into the history of the company and what it was like when you were with them. How did you find yourself dancing with Limón Company?
I was just lucky. I had seen them at the University of Wisconsin and thought that was the most beautiful movement ever created. And so when I went to New York, I took class with him, and from there, in those days, people, choreographers worked with dancers in class a lot. I don't know if that happens now. And you get an intimate relationship then with the choreographer.
And what was it about his specific movement style that you enjoyed?
Well, it was classic. Some people in later years call it balletic, but I don't think it was balletic. It just was beautiful to watch. It was not terribly angular or frenetic.
I know you and I were previously talking, and you talked about like the masculinity.
Yeah.
Obviously, he was a male dancer, and tell me a little bit more about that.
It was fun to dance in class with the men because they traveled across the floor with they ate space.
Yeah,
and
you had to keep up, right?
Yeah, to keep up, and it was a lot of fun.
And when you were dancing with the company, did you have a specific piece that maybe was your favorite to dance?
I was only in two of them. One was Doris Humphrey's Passacaglia and Fugue, and the other was Misa Brevis. And
that's a very known work.
Yeah.
And what was that work like? You know, how did you feel when you were on stage?
Oh, it's a magnificent piece.
Very dramatic. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was after the war when he saw bombed out churches that he, did that piece. And I've forgotten who the scenic designer was, but I was lucky I was able to see the piece before I was in it, so that was nice. So I knew it was a great piece.
What about the Doris Humphrey work? We actually have a piece on the program we're going to be presenting by Doris Humphrey. It'll be the first piece on our program. What do you think Limón learned from her, and how did she influence the company?
Passacaglia is very difficult dance.
Is it?
Yeah.
What made it difficult?
A lot of the bell turns, people would fall.
Okay.
It's very technically difficult.
Okay. That's interesting.
A lot of turns in it, of course, when I performed in it, we were on tour, and it was on raked stages, and that was really difficult.
That'll make it extra hard.
Yeah, doing turns going upstage, which is really upstage.
Yeah.
2 feet higher upstage than down at the footlights. And kind of exposed. Whereas his work, I just remember once being in class, we were doing a movement from the piece, and he said, children, he always called us children.
I love that.
Yeah, you're not just putting your hands up in front of you like this, you're speaking to God. And, because he wasn't religious, but he had all of that religious background.
Kind of spiritual, okay.
Yeah, it was spiritual. And it just made the movement become deeper, more meaningful than just a movement.
What was it like to take class with him? What were some of the things he said, or the way or approach that he took when he taught or worked with you in choreography?
It was all about what the movement meant.
Okay.
And
cool.
Not how many turns you could do.
Which, like you said, is very different than
very
dancers
different
today.
Yeah. It wasn't about the tricks you could do or how high you could get your leg. It was, what did the movement mean? So
I know you told me a story on the phone the other day about dancing wide and taking up space. Can you tell me that story again?
Oh, yeah, well, when we went to class at the beginning, there were 3 of us that came from Wisconsin, and we took class with him. And as we were going across the floor, he said, "Yes, ladies, children, it was children. Yes, children, make it big, make it as wide as Wisconsin."
I love that. Well, what brought you to Cleveland after dancing with the company?
Oh, accident.
That's always the best.
Yeah, my husband was stationed here. He was in the Army.
And your your husband was also a dancer, is that correct?
Well,
dancing.
My husband is a history professor.
Okay.
He was stationed here. He had his choice because he was a college graduate. Why, he was top in his class in clerk type of school.
Wow.
So he had his choice of Cleveland or Korea. So he chose Cleveland.
Good choice.
So Betty Jones, who was really one of the best teachers I've ever had, too, she said, if you're going to Cleveland, there's Caramoo House there, and Eleanor Frampton is teaching there, and you could help her out.
And so that's what you did.
That's what I did, and then I got a job there.
Yeah, we're so lucky that you were here. And then I know previously Dance Cleveland was called Cleveland Modern Dance Association. Right. At the time we had education programs and a performance group. Tell me a little bit about performing with the Box Tops.
That was fun. Yeah, I think a woman named Carolyn Coles. Yes, she did. She directed that. I wonder what's happened to her. But I think they sent out things to the schools. The whole purpose was education about modern dance. And so she put together a program called Box Tops that I was in. And we went out to schools, and in the boxes were different characters.
Fun. Well, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure to talk to you today. And we hope that everyone enjoys the performance. We hope that we see little glimpses of Jose Limon's history within the performance and little glimpses of even Cleveland Modern Dance Association up on stage. So thank you again.
Oh, you're welcome.